Ladies and gentlemen, with a ton of updates on the way, a pretty minor one was dropped today, and we need to talk about it. My name is Derailious, welcome back to Skyblock News, and let's launch right into it. So, as we can see, we have the patch notes on screen now, and they are as follows. They fixed an issue with Mayor Foxy and the spooky event, preventing the event from playing out properly. This was the bug that was happening with there being like hundreds of spooky events overnight. It was kind of a wacky one, and it was super weird, but they seem to have finally fixed it. They reduced the amount of fuel cells you need to fuel the ballista on Phase 3 of Kudra from 5 to 4. They reduced the melee and bow damage dealt while Kudra is stunned by 50%, which makes sense to me. They're trying to move that damage away from, people spamming their Terminators, and instead moving it to actually doing the cannon mechanic. It makes sense to me. They're increasing the cannon damage to dropships by 50%, I'm happy about that, and they increased the ballista damage gained from the Cannoneer perk by 200%, hopefully making the Cannoneer perk a little bit more wanted. On top of this, they fixed the nuke perk, insta-killing all mobs instead of dealing 80% of their health. I'm a little bit sad about that one. Insta-nuke was really nice. Not many people used it actually, but it was super useful. And apparently there was a fix in dungeons with a possible fix for dragon prioritization in the Wither fight in M7. Some people have been saying this isn't working. I don't want to say that it isn't working though. It might actually be, or they might release another patch that did fix it afterwards. But hey, those are the things here. On top of this, I wanted to talk briefly about what I posted the other day. There was a supposed issue in dungeons in which people were getting Watchdog banned. This does not seem to be the case. What seems to have actually happened is a lot of people were using anti-KB in dungeons. A lot of M7 players, and this is something I agreed with from the beginning. These people were getting banned, rightfully so, by Watchdog because there was an update to Watchdog that was actually able to get these players. And so many of them grouped together and tried to spread around a rumor that there was, a way that you can get banned without actually doing anything wrong. Many of these players were rightfully banned. It wasn't a false ban wave, it was all rightful, and it seems to have cooled down now, as people have realized that this was the actual reason, and a lot of people have uninstalled those mods, which, let's be honest, they should not have had installed in the first place. Moving right along here, I want to talk about Derpy because there is 31 hours left before he arrives, and a lot of people may be new or may otherwise not know how to prepare for him. I'm going to go briefly over his perks, I'm not going to go too in depth. Minions have double output, the auction house will be closed, there's double monster HP, and you get bonus skill XP. Generally, what you're going to want to do if you're new and you've never been around for a Derpy event before is A, set an itinerary, set something up where you can, choose what you want to do on those days, and keep in mind, since all the mobs have double health, some combat related stuff may be out of your depth now. Things like dungeons might be a little bit harder for you, and it might be a little bit more difficult for you to survive. But what I also want to say is make sure you focus on minions. Minions work so well for this event. Don't pick up anything on a minion right now. Wait a little bit. Wait for the event with Derpy to start in 31 hours, and you'll be making a lot more profit because there'll be double drops, but also you'll be getting a lot more skill XP. Hyper Catalyst had a pretty funny effect happen to them over the last 7 days, whereas you would expect the price to rise, the price has fallen. Everyone is getting in on this, becoming an investor stuff now, and that is leading to an ironic opposite effect where so many people have bought up so many Hyper Catalysts that the price is rising way before the event begins, and way before the mayorship begins, obviously. And so they're dumping it all into the market over the last few days as people are buying them up right before, and they're getting the better deal here. As you can see, it fell from 135k to 110-ish k, and now it's at 115. It's likely going to stay at this amount until the mayorship begins. But really cool stuff there. I think it's pretty funny. Catalysts are also having the same effect happen to them, dropping from 110k to 90k. Pick some of these up if you want. They're super nice. Obviously, they increase the amount of resources created by minions by a certain amount for 6 hours. Obviously, what you want to go for most in terms of skills for the Derpy Mayor is definitely going to be farming. With the garden update coming out in early 2023, you're going to want to get that farming level up because of the Fermento set and the Squash set and all those other upgradable sets, which are generally going to greatly increase the amount of crops you get, which can then give you better access to getting golds in the farming events and so on and so forth. But yeah, that's going to be the thing you're going to want to do. They said it was going to come out early 2023. I can see it reasonably happening either in early January or early February, but I think after that point, I think it'd be very unlikely for it to release any later than that. I actually wouldn't be that surprised if we saw Skyblock Levels Part 2 release in a week or two at most. They seem to have gotten most of their work done on it. It's not a super intensive update like, for instance, Garden is, which is why they had to take Garden down. It was having performance issues, so I can see them releasing it fairly soon. I'm also a big fan of the Kudra changes, although I don't like that they had to nerf the damage done to the boss by bows and swords by 50%. I do understand why they did it. They want to move that damage away from that in order to make it more based on the cannons, which is fine. I'm also happy that they're focusing on banning these players that are doing things incorrectly, things like anti-KB mods. You shouldn't have those on. They're not good. They don't benefit you. They just give you a Watchdog ban, and that's not really that fun. It's not fun for anyone else involved either because, you know, I don't know. It's just not a good time. Don't cheat. I don't know what to say beyond that. There's really nothing else to say. Yeah. At the end of the day, though, my name is Derailious. Thank you so much for watching this video to the end. Make sure you prepare for Derpy, and look to the future, fellas, because I will see you then.